was like a freight train coming through.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. They all kissed the ground.
Compared to our history, this is twice as bad as anything we have ever seen.
The knockout storm wasn't without casualties.
It hurts, but yet there's a purpose to it. And God always gives us the courage to go ahead and move forward.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Brent Watts. Thanks for joining us. It has been exactly 1 decade since the epic windstorm most of us simply know as the derecho moved through the region on a record hot summer day. 60 to 80 mile per hour winds left whole counties powerless. And most of us wondering what the heck just happened. Over the next half hour, the WDBJ7 weather team will take you back to June 29th, 2012. Moment by moment as the windstorm moved through. We'll learn the science behind a derecho, what has changed since the event, and why some say we could be due for another. But first, what even is a derecho? Here's meteorologist Leo Hirschbrunner.
Covering your hometown from 5 newsrooms across the region. This is WDBJ7.
It's a sad day for the court and for the country.
Millions and millions of innocent human beings were lost because of the Roe versus Wade decision.
It is a very powerful election issue, not just for women, but all Americans.
Again, I think most people are pretty entrenched with what they believe on this particular issue and what ought to happen.
We've been knowing this was going to go down since Kavanaugh.
Good evening, I'm Jean Jadhun.
And I'm Melissa Gayona. Thank you for joining us.
What you just heard were some of the reactions to today's top story. The United States Supreme Court has overturned Roe versus Wade, ending abortion rights at the federal level.
It undoes 50 years of precedent, and now abortion is effectively illegal in almost half the country. Skylar Henry has more on the move.
DBJ7.
Good evening, I'm Natalie Fonz.
And I'm Jean Jadhun. Thank you for joining us. We start in Lynchburg, where police body camera video of the February officer-involved shooting has now been released. We do want to warn you, part of this video is disturbing. On the screen, you can see Lynchburg police officer John Person pursuing Raheem Brown, who was driving a car LPD believed to be involved with the shots fired call nearby. You can see that Brown gets out of the car and is then pursued by the officer. And in the final moments of Brown's life, he then turns right way there in the distance onto a gravel path where he trips, and that is when the shooting starts. We go to WDBJ7's Will Thomas right now. Will is live in Lynchburg tonight. Will, what happens after that?
Now at 6, good vibes might be turning bad at Floyd Fest this year, while the Staple Music Festival might have to cancel their biggest year yet.
Hey, don't put away that winter jacket. These clear skies going to lead to another cold night. Plus, we'll check in on our next rain chance.
And the Virginia Tech Hokies got some rest today ahead of their Final Four appearance. But some of their supporters here in Southwest Virginia are busier than ever. Good evening, I'm Jean Jadhun. Natalie Fonz has the night off. The Virginia Tech Hokies Final Four is starting to feel a little less surreal as we get closer to Friday's game. And it is certainly feeling that way for our sports director, Brittany Morgan, who is live in Dallas tonight. Brittany, what has the team been up to today?
Well, Jean, the team has been busy all day doing some practicing and some sightseeing here in Dallas. And the preparation is about to get much more intense starting tomorrow. But meanwhile, things in Blacksburg are already intense for stores like Campus Emporium, who received Final Four merch today. WDBJ7's Janae Reese spoke to the store manager, who says that the phones have been ringing off the hook and items are flying off the shelves fast. T-shirts and hats are available online and in stores at both of their locations. And Jean, everyone in Hokie Nation is hoping that these Final Four shirts will be turned into national champion shirts in just a matter of days. If they are able to do that, they will be the first ever national champions for Virginia Tech.
And we are all rooting them on. Brittany, I hope you can enjoy Dallas. Looks like you're right in the heart of the city. We'll see you in a little bit. Virginia legislators, meanwhile, are also gearing up for the Hokies' big game on Friday. During a media conference with reporters today, Senator Tim Kaine shared his excitement for the women's basketball team. He says it's even been a little tense on Capitol Hill as the Hokies prepare to face off against the LSU Tigers.
My Louisiana senators have been already kind of challenging me on this. I think Tech looks great. I think their guard and their center are just two tremendous players, and that was obvious in the game that they played against Tennessee. So I think they got a great chance.
And we will have more coverage from Brittany Morgan in Dallas in just a little bit. Also, WDBJ7's Logan Sherrill and Anthony Romano will be joining her tomorrow and throughout the tournament live right here on your hometown station. A boy is in custody for shooting 2 other teenagers in Roanoke last night. That's according to police. Police responded to Meadow Street in Northwest at about 7:30 last night, where they found a car riddled with bullet holes. Officers found a teenage girl with a gunshot wound and then learned a different teenage boy who had been riding with her in the car had arrived at the hospital with a gunshot wound. Both are expected to be okay. Police say the victim's car was driving toward Bowman Park when the teen in custody allegedly drove past them and fired into their car from his window. He was found shortly later at his home and is now being held at the Juvenile Detention Center. And more news that is growing too common in Roanoke, another daytime shooting in Northwest. This happened just hours ago. Details are few right now. What we do know, a man was shot on Hanover Avenue at about 3:30 this afternoon, but is expected to survive. Police have not made any information public on who could have done this, but they say they do not feel there's a threat to the public. Logistical issues could derail a popular music festival in this region. Floyd Fest announcing today they will not be hosting the festival at their new property in Floyd County this year. But WDBJ7's Kate Capodanno spoke with festival organizers and says right now the festival is not canceled, despite, it looks like, Kate, some initial confusion.
Yes, Jean, absolutely. There's still a possibility that headliners like My Morning Jacket and Sheryl Crow will play for Floyd Fest crowds this July, but where the festival could be hosted is up in the air. Organizers tell me a delay in a state permit is keeping them from hosting the event at their new property near Czech at what they have named their festival park. They would not tell me which state agency is part of that holdup, but say the delay is out of their control at this time. That means Floyd Fest organizers are now looking for other potential venues to hold their sold-out crowd.
We wouldn't be looking at changing the dates. We know that people do plan well and ahead for this event. It would be a change of location, a temporary location. I can say this with absolute certainty that, our aim is to have Festival Park up and running now in even better shape for 2024. So that will be the home. But right now we're just looking at other options to keep the Floyd Fest annual gathering alive for 2023.
Sam Calhoun, who you just heard from, tells me that headliners and bands plan their tour routes around the locations of different festivals. So if Floyd Fest does find a new venue, it would not be too far off course from Festival Park, which is along US 221, about 15 minutes beyond Bent Mountain. And just for some context for our viewers, this was going to be the first time in more than 2 decades the festival would have moved from its original location in Patrick County. Jean, we can expect an update from Floyd Fest next Thursday. That's April 6th. And Sam Calhoun did tell me if the logistics do not work out and they do end up canceling, they will give festival goers the option to get a refund or to roll over their tickets, similar to what they did in the pandemic.
All right, a lot of information out there, and I know a lot of folks want to know what's going to happen, whether it's festival goers or, as you said, those musicians too. Kate Capodanno, let us know what happens next week. Thank you. Changes are...
Now at 6, 9 Roanoke County elementary teachers quit after a school board meeting. What was said and why some parents are supporting school staff.
Plus, new technology could put an end to violent crime in Western Virginia. The program the U.S. Attorney is touting to stop gun violence across the area.
And that storm is cranking up off the East Coast. We're going to check in on the timing and when the wettest part of our weekend will be.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Melissa Gayon.
And I'm Chloe Vincenti. Jean and Natalie are off tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
A protest is planned for tomorrow at Glen Cove Elementary School in Roanoke County. This is all after a parent spoke out at a school board meeting against LGBTQ material inside schools. Now, multiple teachers have resigned. WDBJ7's Patsy Montesinos talked to school officials today and some parents as well about this situation and is joining us live in studio this evening. Patsy, this really has created quite the reaction on social media. Can you take us back to how this all began?
Melissa, one parent took issue with teachers displaying pride symbols and teaching his children about LGBTQ issues and spoke out during a public comment period at the county school board meeting. The parent organizing the demonstration says the goal is to show school staff their support and love.
Welcome, Mr. Gutierrez.
Parent Damon Gutierrez brought his concerns to the May 18th Roanoke County School Board meeting.
I care not if someone is LGBTQA. That is their decision. I have friends and business partners that are gay. What I'm here to talk about is the child abuse, grooming, conditioning, and indoctrination by sexual predators disguised as teachers and staff at Glen Cove Elementary.
He said this came after he heard his son talking to another student about something they learned at school.
And they were talking about how a staff person had told them that a boy could be a girl and a girl could be a boy and that they could decide.
Gutierrez said he visited the school and saw LGBTQ decorations and staff wearing pride symbols, including this staff photo WDBJ7 obtained from the school's yearbook. Although Gutierrez didn't name the teachers and staff he was talking about, he did list their positions.
It became apparent that the guidance counselor, the school psychologist, the assistant principal, and the music teacher were bent on indoctrinating our children on LGBTQA and not on reading, writing, and arithmetic.
How many music teachers do you know at one school? One, at least at an elementary school. And how many assistant principals are there usually? One.
Parent Samantha Newell is organizing a peaceful demonstration at the school on Friday afternoon to support teachers and staff.
This impacts not just their livelihood of their jobs and their futures, but I mean, when you think of a sexual predator, you want to throw paint on these people. You want to get upset about a person that's hurting children.
Newell said multiple teachers resigned after the school board didn't support them. WDBJ7 contacted Roanoke County Public School officials who confirmed 9 teachers have resigned and their positions have been filled. However, the school district wouldn't confirm if the situations were related.
Teachers like this prevent suicide. Teachers like this prevent self-harm. Teachers like this prevent bullying. Imagine a kid with 2 dads goes to school and is constantly talked down to by their peers. They have no one to go to now because these teachers were bullied out of their jobs.
WDBJ7 contacted Gutierrez, who said he had no comments regarding the situation. He said, quote, "The media and alt-left are making this something it is not." A Glen Cove Elementary staff member told me school officials made them remove any pride symbols, including rainbow bracelets. I contacted district officials asking if this was true, but they said they couldn't comment because it was, quote, personnel issue.
And I know you were also able, Patsy, to speak with the Roanoke County School Board Chairman. Any response there?
I contacted him, but I did not get a response as of yet.
Okay, and I know we plan to be at the protests tomorrow, so we'll get a follow-up then. Patsy, live in studio tonight. Thank you.
A dangerous and damaging line of storms moving through right now. The biggest issue is strong wind gusts. We'll take a look at that in the heat side of the story on this Weather Alert Day.
Plus, a school board meeting got out of hand last night in Roanoke County. The controversial policy that's dividing some parents and teachers. And Lynchburg is coming together to stop shootings. How the peacemakers are raising money to make that happen. Good evening. I'm Natalie Fons. And I'm Jean Chadhan. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. High temperatures and very strong thunderstorms top our newscast tonight.
Yeah, as you can see behind us, this is a live look outside of Poor Mountain where you can see the winds are blowing, the rain is moving through. Most of our hometowns have been under a heat advisory today. We're seeing some warnings out there. The feels like temperatures today getting close to 107 degrees. Now that is a dangerous level of heat and something everyone needs to be careful of.
Yeah, that is extremely hot. That is why our weather team has declared a weather alert day today. And we are joined by Chief Meteorologist Brent Watts. Now, Brent, besides the heat, it looks like we can tell behind us and from the video earlier, we have some very strong storms rolling through.
Yeah, and we know from the past that storms love hot, humid weather. And
Thank you, Brent. An emotional Roanoke County School Board meeting ended in 2 arrests last night after 2 controversial policies were discussed. One of those was the state's transgender guideline policy, which we told you about last night. The other focused on the decorations that teachers are allowed to have in their classrooms, a policy that was passed unanimously by the board. WDBJ7's Patsy Montesinos has been following the story for months for us and joins us live in the studio. So, Patsy, can you explain to us why those policies caused such an outcry?
Well, Natalie, the state's transgender policy focuses on how schools address transgender students in classrooms and requires them to tell the parents. But the classroom decor policy is local to Roanoke County and something that some teachers are against.
Make a motion that we adopt 8.04.
In a unanimous decision.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The Roanoke County School Board voted Thursday to adopt a new policy, saying teachers may not use classroom decorations displaying any political, social political, or religious belief.
Classroom decor and displays are intended to support the curriculum and learning objectives of Roanoke County Public Schools and contribute to a learning environment in which all students are valued and supported.
Penn Forest Elementary School teacher Michelle Brooks spoke against the change. She says she doesn't feel like she's being treated as a professional.
There's yet another policy that implies you don't trust our capabilities to know what exams to give, but also we can't be trusted to decorate our classrooms in a warm and inviting way without it being approved.
This comes after a May school board meeting. Several parents complained to the board about rainbow pattern items in classrooms.
I care not if someone is LGBTQA. That is their decision. I have friends and business partners that are gay. What I'm here to talk about is the child abuse, grooming, conditioning, and indoctrination by sexual predators disguised as teachers and staff at Glen Clove Elementary.
Parents told WDBJ7 several school staffers resigned from Glen Cove after the meeting. District officials confirmed 9 teachers resigned and their positions were filled, but we were not told the reason for their resignations. One teacher who resigned told WDBJ7 4 teachers were asked to remove rainbow decorations or refrain from wearing certain clothing. A week after the meeting, people held a peaceful demonstration outside the school to support the teachers.
Rainbows are something good. They're not meant to incite fear. And that's, I think, to take rainbows out of an elementary school is ridiculous.
The new policy creates a guideline for the district to follow. It says in part, a sticker, sign, flag, or other display hung by a teacher may be intended to show support and affinity for a subset of students, but it can unintentionally imply that other teachers who do not display such messages or symbols in their classroom do not support inclusion for all their students. On Thursday, members of the board listened to 27 people speak for 2 hours against the state's transgender model policy and the district's classroom display policy.
So who will suffer from this policy? Firstly, our students. When they walk into classrooms devoid of anything interesting on their walls, rooms stripped of items that offer them kind words, a hopeful expression, or an inspiring quote.
The policy does have exceptions like promoting school rules and patriotism. Natalie, during last night's meeting, community members expressed disappointment in the board for not stopping the speaker in May. One board member said they do recognize how they handled the meeting was a mistake.
Patsy Montesinos, thank you.